I'm the Figure Dude, and today I'm going to be unboxing the first time order from Warsman. Without further ado, let's talk about some figures. Dude. Welcome back to the channel. Like I said, today, this is the first time I'm ordering head sculpts from Warsman, and he has an Instagram. You can get to his website through there, but I had this pop into my head when I was looking at Tom's website, because I'd noticed there was some crossover, what I thought were the same head sculpts on Tom Vegg's website and Warsman's website. And I'd kind of forgotten Warsman made head sculpts. He was one of the first people I remember seeing making head sculpts, and I'm pretty sure it was him that was doing it back before 3D printing, when you'd have to like put a mold into like silicone, take out the head sculpt that you put in there to mold, and then you'd have to fill it again with, I think, resin. I don't know the whole process. It was a long process, but he was making head sculpts well before I was even buying them. And I realized that a lot of what I think is that Warsman commissioned some sculpts from Tom. So those sculpts eventually made their way to Warsman's site, and he sells what he commissioned, but then obviously has them for himself. So a lot of the stuff on Tom's website I did find on his website, but then he's got some extra stuff, and then he doesn't have everything that's on Tom's website. So I got a lot of stuff that I had been looking at, but it was significantly cheaper because I'm not buying from overseas. A bunch of reasons. Long story short, I got stuff I wanted. I got it cheaper. I'm pretty sure the quality is about the same. So I'm going to take a look at that, because I ordered a bunch of stuff here. Going to add a lot of stuff to the collection. But first off is going to be Joel Gertner, Studley Dudley from ECW. I almost ordered this from Tom last year during Black Friday, and he just missed the cut. But I want to expand my ECW roster, and it's really not that big if you take looking at, it was such a short period of time. So I really feel like it's something that I can fill out and complete. Maybe not in the near future, but definitely something that is attainable. Whereas like WCW, I'm never going to complete a WWE roster, obviously. But ECW, especially just that time frame, is definitely something I can do. And Joel Gertner was someone I really wanted to get done. I feel like his formula is not going to be that difficult. Something I can work on quite easily. I have a bunch of tag teams, so I'll get to those. We're going to go through the singles first. Next up is going to be not Ronnie Garvin. What the Sam Hill? Robert Garvin. I don't know. Garvin, the one that teamed with the one that was in the Freebirds. I'm going to be making him. I ordered this head sculpt for a friend, and I'm going to be painting it up here soon, and got FOMO. I'm redoing my shelf to get everything to fit on my wrestling figure shelves, to get everything to fit on there a little bit better. And I've got the Freebirds, but I needed to grab him to kind of complete that. And I have my own custom Michael Hayes, so I'm thinking I'm going to make a version of just those two together. They teamed a few times in some matches I saw in WCW. So if I have messed up the name, I apologize. I order head sculpts to paint up figures. I look up references. I learn more then. Sometimes I go into it pretty blind. I know I messed up the name when I made my Ronnie Garvin. I think it's Robert. Anyway, moving on there. If I messed it up, I apologize. It's a nice head sculpt. The only difficult thing with Warsman's website is that the names aren't like Joel Gertner. It says like they're like jokes about the wrestlers. So if you know a lot about the wrestler, it's easy to tell. Sometimes you can just tell, like mostly you can tell just from looking at the heads, but some of them are a little more difficult figuring out. So I like compared some from Tom's website to Warsman's to figure it out, and I didn't really have any issues ordering, but that's just something going in. Next up is one that I'm very excited to make. I didn't plan on it because I didn't want to order it from Tom just because of the price, like I said. But I already have a Mark Marrow and Marvelous Mark Marrow and then the Wild Man Mark Marrow, I'm planning to make. They're pieced together, and I'm just going to get this in there. I'm going to make Johnny B. Bad. I've been watching a lot of older WCW, like the late 80s, early 90s kind of WCW, and Johnny B. Bad seemed to open up every single show. I swear, it felt like he was the first match on every pay-per-view I watched. And watching his matches, like there was one with Steven Regal that was really good. But he just put on fantastic matches, and I'm excited. I've been spending a lot of time trying to figure out my Wild Man Mark Marrow formula, and now that I have that kind of figured out, I was excited to get it to a Johnny B. Bad as well, especially with just how extra his attire was compared to Wild Man and Marvelous when he was at those gimmicks. So I think that one's going to be a lot of fun. And like I said, I'm really, the early 90s are going to be very big on Work in Progress Wednesday in the coming year. Next up is going to be Pegasus Kid, or Chris Benoit when he was in New Japan. I think it's New Japan, in Japan. I don't know if it was specifically New Japan, but this is another one that I'll try to stop saying this. I wanted a lot of these, and now that I was able to get them for a cheaper price, I picked up a ton of them. So I've got Pegasus Kid here. I want to make a bunch of different Benoits. 3XR Studios got a sculpt in his library of like a Ruthless Aggression Benoit. Tom Vegg's Patreon has a long-haired Benoit, like a mullet Benoit, which I'll have before too long, a few months, I'll be able to get that one. So I want to make a bunch of Benoits for my collection. I don't know if those are going to be on Work in Progress Wednesday. Obviously, there's reasons we don't publicize Chris Benoit, but I'm gonna be making Pegasus Kid here. I want to make him with I want to make an ECW look for Eddie Guerrero and Dean Malenko. I've made Rey Mysterio and Juventud when they were in ECW, so Benoit, he didn't wear the mask, I don't think, but he did wear attire like the same pants as he did when he was Pegasus Kid. So that'll be like a 2-for-1 when I get around to that. But it's a nice sculpt. I really do like the Pegasus sculpt on the top of it there. I'm excited to get around to that one. This one I have to thank Russ Cartwright for the FOMO. This is the natural Butch Reed, which technically he did not order a Butch Reed, but I did, and I'm going to be painting up Doom for him. So when I was just looking up some pictures of Doom from WCW, it was Farouk or Ron Simmons and Butch Reed, and then I was looking at stuff for Butch Reed, and I was like, dang it, why I need to grab him too. So gonna be making him in his singles look, and then we will spoiler, I do have Doom here as well. I'll be making both of them, but I wanted to, like I said, I'm expanding that 90s, pre-Attitude Era, expanding that roster. Next up, to pair with my Rocky Johnson Elite, I'm going to be making a Tony Atlas, and it's beyond me why we have not gotten a Tony Atlas figure of any form from Mattel. I don't know if he's in a Legends contract now, but when the WWE Network came out, he was literally in the Legends House show, which I loved. I know a lot of people did not. I thought it was awesome. I really enjoyed it. I missed out multiple times on the Tony Atlas Jax figure, and I think he had a few. I don't know if they did a Sava Simba look for him, but I don't know why we haven't gotten Tony Atlas. So I'm going to be making him here in probably just like a red trunks look. I'm not quite sure yet. I haven't done a lot of looking as far as what I'm going to do, but I really want to make Tony Atlas. I feel like I saw a lot about him from WWE growing up, but we just never, I don't know, I have no clue why Mattel never gave us figures of him. Next up is going to be one of my personal favorites as a wee lad watching wrestling, was Bad News Brown. I thought he was so cool because his name was Bad News. I don't know, I just thought he was awesome. His finishing move is an enziguri, but it was called the Ghetto Blaster, and as a kid, I was a big fan of the movie I'm Gonna Get You Sucker by the Wayans brothers, and I just felt like Bad News Brown could be plugged right into that movie, just being awesome, kicking people in the head. So I don't know if he would be someone that we would get from Mattel. You never know with the Legends line. We're getting an AWA version of Kurt Hennig, and I know, like, we're a long ways removed from the golden era at this point. With Jax, they were 15, 20 years post golden era, kind of Hulk Hogan era, WrestleMania. That's a long time ago now. So I don't know if we're gonna get guys like Bad News Brown anymore, but I will definitely be making him here on the channel sooner than later. And then next up, this is one that I actually could see us getting from Mattel. It is Fit Finlay with his long hair, and we are allegedly getting a Lord Steven Regal from WCW. And if we're getting him, I think it's very possible we get a Fit Finlay with his long hair, especially in the Monday Night Wars line. The Monday Night Wars line seems to just span like the whole New Generation era into the Attitude Era. They use that very loosely with Monday Night Wars, but I really want Fit Finlay in his singlet with a mullet. He looks ridiculous, and he loved to fight then too. So I went ahead and ordered this to give him that long dark hair with his mustache. I'm probably going to use like a Bobby Heenan base for that figure, but this is one that I very easily could see them putting. I don't know where he stands with WWE. I swear he's a producer or still works for them. It frustrates me that all these guys work for WWE but don't have merchandising contracts, because like the Hurricane, Gregory Helms, I'm pretty sure is a producer. Like obviously Abyss, but that's kind of iffy as far as merchandise. A lot of stuff. But there's Fit Finlay. I'm really excited to make that one. Then we have Ahmed Johnson here, and this, I actually have an Ahmed Johnson custom I made, but I just used an Ezekiel Jackson head sculpt that I don't think looks anything like Ezekiel Jackson. So I went ahead and finally ordered myself an Ahmed. Like this one, I thought the Ezekiel Jackson head was good enough, and good enough to where I'd rather order someone I don't have at all than order a head sculpt just to upgrade a custom. But I finally went ahead, I got Ahmed Johnson, and I'll probably order another one. I really want to make his red attire from the New Gen era, but then I also want to make his Nation of Domination look, even though his time there was brief. And eventually I'd like to get around to making a Big T in WCW when he was in Harlem Heat 2000. But Ahmed Johnson, I thought he was awesome as a kid, and I didn't understand any of the politics, any of the backstage stuff, so I never understood why he wasn't pushed to be the man. But I thought he was awesome growing up. I think a lot of people did, and obviously there's various reasons it didn't work out, but very excited to re-up my custom of him and making Ahmed Johnson. Then next up, either you will love or hate this, we've got a Jim Cornette head sculpt, and I've made the Midnight Express, Rock and Roll Express. Actually 3XR Studio just made a Jim Cornette, and I think the head sculpt of his will make its way to his 3D library. I'm crossing my fingers that it does, because I would love to make some more suited Cornettes, just like Jimmy Hart. If we could, I would take a Jimmy Hart every other Legends wave in a different suit of his, managing people. I feel like that with Cornette as well. He managed so many people. I make a Camp Cornette from the New Gen era, which this sculpt, this hair is more young Cornette, but I'd like to make some to go with like Yokozuna and Owen Hart. But I needed a good sculpt besides this Toy Biz sculpt to make my Jim Cornette. So I was pumped to finally order this one. And I think Tom, I don't know if Warsman had one on his website, but Tom definitely has a couple different looks for Jim Cornette. And then next up here is going to be a short-haired sculpt for Jeff Jarrett. I have a long-haired sculpt. I've made a, I got a sculpt from Head Gimmicks of him a while ago. But I want to make more Jeff Jarrett's. I have a few already planned, and then this one's going to be for my WCW era in his like yellow and silver tights with a slap nut shirt. But Jeff Jarrett is someone that I wish we almost did get figures from Mattel, and then he left short, like right after the Royal Rumble, essentially. Went to AEW. I don't know what we're gonna get, what AEW is able to make as far as his figures go. With, I feel like they could make it TNA, but also Jazzware seems to be done after this year, so I'm not banking on anything from them anymore. Anyway, they still put up pre-orders, like they just put up the Tanahashi. We'll see. Like that's coming in September, and I guess like that's not long before the license is supposed to be over, so I'm not sure what else will all be put up there. But we've got short hair Jeff Jarrett. I do like this sculpt. Some of these, it's always hard looking at them without any primer or paint or anything, and then you start painting them up and they look fantastic. I do think this one looks really good. Very excited to add him for my WCW. I've never been a big Jeff Jarrett fan, and when he went to AEW, I feel like his popularity kind of rose and people kind of overrated him, and then that like nostalgia pop kind of wore off, and they gave him a push, and then people were like, oh, why are you, like, what are we doing, why are we pushing Jeff Jarrett? But he's important to my collection. Whether I think he was that as talented as he thought he was is for another debate, but I'm excited to add him to the collection because he still was prominent in multiple different eras, promotions, and whatnot. Next up is an Owen Hart, and this Owen is just different than the sculpts that I have access to through 3XR Studios library. The big hair in the back coming down in front. Warsman Customs is working on a really cool Rocket Owen Hart, and he showed me a nice sculpt that he has, and this is kind of that same era as with the big hair. I'm going to be using it for my own Rocket Owen Hart custom, but I saw this one in there and figured let's throw it in the cart. I spent a lot of money on Black Friday and Cyber Monday through there, especially on 3D head sculpts, but I can't pass up a deal, and deals were had during this holiday season. So I'm going to try to slow down on not unboxings, on purchasing more, but that's mostly going to be on the retail end. I'll just pass up some Mattel stuff, wait for it to clearance down. I couldn't stop buying 3D head sculpts because that's just what I do to occupy my time. Anyway, there's an Owen. I do think it looks good. I probably could look around and find some of these painted up online, but I haven't stumbled across any, but I'm sure it will look good on my Rocket once we get there. Next up, we're gonna have some tag teams, so we'll get the extra body up here. First up is going to be the Pit Bulls from ECW. So these are two I didn't know a lot about. I'm pretty sure they just went by Pitbull number 1 and Pitbull number 2 in ECW. And I've seen some people, I saw people use like a Drew McIntyre head sculpt. I've seen people really just spruce up some Mattel head sculpts, but these two, before adding a discount code, were $18 for the two sculpts, and I thought that was more than a good enough deal to finally go ahead and order these. But like I said, I want to fill out the ECW roster. I'm going to get through everyone I can. Whether I know them well or not, I always have a lot of fun just going back and watching old pay-per-views, and I rarely just watch a match and then move on. I'll find a pay-per-view, kind of get an idea of formulas for bodies, attires, and whatnot, and then I'll just end up watching the whole thing, which I'll definitely do with ECW. But here are both of the Pit Bulls. And then I mentioned these guys, but we've got Doom with their masks on here, and you can tell it's not just the same sculpt. Like this one here is the Ron Simmons one, and then the second one is obviously the Butch Reed head sculpt. I think it's cool. You can tell that just in the chin and eyes there. They've got their masks on. I do need to make, or I hope Mattel makes, a manager Teddy Long with his Jerry curl. I would love that. I'd put him with Doom in my Skyscrapers customs, but I've had a ton of fun watching mid late 80s and early 90s WCW. Really, like all of these guys before the Attitude Era took off, like seeing them, especially Ron Simmons in WCW as a like fresh-faced champ, heavyweight champion, is so cool to look back on. Like nowadays, you watch guys come up from NXT and like you see him get signed on Instagram, and then you watch him the whole way, and it wasn't like that, especially when I was younger. Sometimes going back and seeing these is just crazy to see, like Farouk as a young man. But next up is going to be the Eliminators. We have Cronus and Saturn here. I've made a Perry Saturn before, but again, I've had people ask like, oh, am I gonna make these? And I say, yeah, probably I'll get to them. And get to them is I got a long to-do list. Obviously, if you see how many head sculpts I've unboxed on the channel, you know I've got plenty coming. But these guys, I've seen a bit of. I watched a little bit. I tried to watch a bunch of ECW pay-per-views, but those are ones I typically don't watch with my kids around, and my kids are always around. So I don't know that much. I didn't even realize this was Perry Saturn when I was younger. Like I knew there was a team named the Eliminators, but I didn't realize like that was Perry Saturn. He just looked different. He looked different than what I was used to growing up. So we've got a couple more here, and these are a goofy pair that I have wanted to make them for so long. But we have the Beverly brothers, I think Blake and Bo Beverly. They were a tag team, a Golden Era tag team. But the thing I remember them for is their finishing move, where they just straight up killed people. It was like one of them would do like a flapjack move, but then the other one would grab the head of the opponent and just like smash it into the ground. And I don't know how that was a finisher, how they were allowed to do that. I know it was a different time, but it looked like straight up murder on television. And for them, they were like, for their gimmick, it didn't seem fitting to me at all, because they were like preppy, like bleached blonde hair, purple attire. I don't know. They always fascinated me. They were never someone I was dying to have in my collection. But now that I customize and I have the ability to add some of these side characters, I couldn't pass up the Beverly Brothers. So I'm going to be making them. And then we've got one more tag team here, which I did have some motivation from Clarky Customs to make. But we have the Heavenly Bodies. He is working on some customs of his own. And as far as I know, they only really had like one attire, one look. So I'll take some inspiration from him for sure, because what I've seen looks fantastic. But we're gonna be making the Heavenly Bodies, and this is again a tag team that if you go look up the Heavenly Bodies WWF, it's so funny just their builds and how they look, because I'm sure people have seen a meme where it's like some old dude with a gut, and it's like people will look like this and then literally call themselves like handsome Ronnie Johnson or something like that. And all these old wrestlers that were like handsome, heavenly, rugged, like stuff like that. I'm sure some of them were sarcastic and some of them just thought highly of themselves. But the Heavenly Bodies here, I'm going to be making them. I just have so many, especially I love making tag teams and matching attires. And I love the 90s Golden Era and New Gen. More Golden Era tag team wrestling was more prominent, I feel like. But I love tag teams that were just tag teams and not guys built together. And that is what I feel like was like the peak as far as that goes. Not in-ring quality, but matching looks. So long unboxing today. I had a lot of head sculpts. If you did stick around here to the end, I appreciate it very much. If you want to see these customs come to life, if you want to see some more unboxings, collection showcases I'm trying to add to the channel, please consider subscribing. But other than that, please remember, you can't buy happiness, but you can buy more action figures. Figure Dude out.